Welcome to Human Rights Asia Weekly Roundup. In this week's program, in Sri Lanka, continued attacks on freedom of expression. Criminal activities of the police continue in India. Bukit Tinggi Court of Indonesia delivered landmark ruling in a torture compensation claim. Bangladesh government persecutes dissident voices. 2 more local leaders shot in Bukidnon of Philippines. Voices of survivors this week from Sri Lanka. Stay with us for more of these issues. I am Mohammad Ashrafuzzaman. With the wave of forthcoming provincial council election in Sri Lanka, the ruling party has moved to increase censorship. Reports reveal that popular political satire telecast on Swarnavahini and Company, in which the veteran actor Ravindra Yasas plays a main role, has been suddenly banned from telecast without any explanation. The popular actor is a candidate in the provincial council election from Kalutara district under the Democratic Party ticket. Commenting on the banning of and Company, Ravindra Yasas has told the Lanka E-News website that the ban is an act of severe violence inflicted upon aesthetic values of the public by the rulers in order to take revenge on him. He has further expressed his grief towards the government for engaging in such shameful activities. Additionally, the character of Jagat Banaragama in the drama Pabasara, who is also running in the election from Colombo district under the Democratic Party ticket, has been suddenly killed and dumped into a lake. The drama was telecast in every weekday in ITN. Meanwhile, according to a leading survey, Sri Lanka further declined in press freedom last year, placing it among the 20 worst countries in the world for media expression. The annual World Press Freedom Index for 2014, compiled by Paris-based Reporters Without Borders (RSF), ranked Sri Lanka 165th, sliding 2 notches from the previous year. In the north of Sri Lanka, the army reigns supreme, tolerating no challenge to the official vision of the pacification process in Tamil separatism's former strongholds, the RSF report said. The AHRC, in its annual report of the human rights on Sri Lanka, highlighted, while most of the incidents of grave concern against the freedom of expression in Sri Lanka remain unanswered, the space for expression is not simply shrinking. It is faltering, degenerating, disintegrating, and shattering in the degenerating authoritarian system noted by many opinion makers. AHRC further observed, political influence combined with military influence has evaporated the last milestone of the freedom of expression in the country. Most people who have access to internet have to rely on sources of information and publication based outside the country. The public is losing faith that the truth will be told by local media. Media professionals are losing the quality of their profession due to this authoritarian government behavior. The Indian police is notorious for its use for brute force, including custodial torture and rape of persons in custody. The country's police was once again responsible for its own bad publicity the past week, this time for an act of brute punishment recorded by bystanders. In this incident, a police officer from the state of Uttar Pradesh is seen brutally assaulting a civilian helper at the police station in full public view outside the police station. The incident is reported from Kotwali police station in Muzaffarnagar of Uttar Pradesh on 12 February. The person assaulted is reported to be mentally challenged and not a government employee or a police officer, but a helper employed at the police station on a local contract. The senior officers responded noting that they have not taken any action against the police constable who assaulted the civilian outside the police station. Gross indiscipline is the hallmark of Indian police. Use of brute force, even in full public view, is means the police resort to reinforce fear among the average public about the institution. In a country like India, where it is the rule by fear that maintains order, the rule of law and accountability for police actions are casualties. India's police are considered to be criminals in uniform. This latest incident reiterates this public sentiment. Bukit Tinggi District Court in West Sumatra of Indonesia has delivered its judgment on the case of Alam Saifuddin versus Chief of Bukit Tinggi Sub-District Police. The case was on a compensation claim by the family of Eric Alamsyah, a victim of torture by 6 officers of Bukit Tinggi Sub-District Police. Eric was tortured to death by the officers on 30th March in 2012. In its ruling, Bukit Tinggi District Court accepted Eric's family's claim and ruled that by torturing Eric Alamsyah, these 6 officers are responsible for causing damages on the claimant. Remarkably, the court also established that the Chief of Bukit Tinggi Sub-District Police is equally responsible for causing damage on the claimant under Article 1367, Paragraph 1 of the Civil Code on the basis of respondeat superior or superior responsibility. Such ruling is considered to be outstanding given the scarce ruling in favor of the claimants in torture compensation claims in Indonesia. We earlier spoke to Era Purnamasari of Padang Legal Aid Institute, who is one of the lawyers representing Eric's family.
Nah, di upaya hukum perdata ini di putusan Pengadilan Negeri bulan November ya 2013, kami pikir ini sebuah putusan yang cukup pantas kita apresiasi, mengingat selama ini hampir tidak ada kasus-kasus penyiksaan yang berhasil dibawa ke pengadilan secara pidana, dan tidak ada kasus-kasus penyiksaan yang diajukan upaya hukum perdata itu dikabulkan oleh majelis. Nah, putusan Eric Alamsyah saya pikir ada 2 keberhasilan. Yang pertama bahwa majelis hakim juga mengatakan bahwa kepolisian selaku institusi juga bertanggung jawab terhadap perbuatan itu. Artinya dia juga mengatakan bahwa kepolisian melakukan perbuatan melawan hukum. Di mana letak perbuatannya? Karena dia selaku atasan yang seharusnya melakukan pengawasan, dia tidak melakukan itu. Sehingga terjadilah perbuatan penganiayaan dan lain sebagainya. Itulah letak perbuatan melawan hukum. Nah, majelis hakim mengatakan bahwa membenarkan dalil itu. Jadi menurut kami ini adalah sebuah hal yang patut kita apresiasi. Yang kedua adalah soal gugatan material. Imaterial ya. Kalau gugatan material diterima itu menurut saya adalah sebuah hal yang wajar. Tapi majelis hakim juga menerima gugatan imaterial. Kami menunggu putusan banding ya, karena pihak pelaku tidak menerima putusan dan mengajukan banding. Tapi memang kami berharap bahwa pengadilan berikutnya, pengadilan tinggi atau pengadilan kasasi nanti kalau dikasasi, menguatkan putusan ini, bahkan kalau perlu memperbaiki logika-logika hukum di dalam putusan. Karena memang kan putusan menjadi sebuah proses menjadi sarana juga untuk pembaruan hukum dan pencerdasan juga kepada publik soal isu-isu penyiksaan.
Human rights defenders and members of the civil society organizations are living in a dangerous era now in Bangladesh. Unabated persecution is going on against professionals who criticize the incumbent regime. Human rights organization Odhikar is one of the main victims in the continued repressions. The government illegally arrested Odhikar's secretary Adilur Rahman Khan on 10th August in 2013. He was taken into police remand for 5 days and arbitrarily detained in prison for 62 days on fabricated cases. The government accused Adilur along with a colleague and the organization of tarnishing the image of the law enforcement agencies for publishing a report claimed 61 persons' death in a crackdown against the demonstrators of Hifazat-e-Islam on May 5 and 6 last year. Odhikar Secretary Adilur Rahman Khan and Director ASM Nasiruddin Elan were charged under Information and Communication Technology Act of 2006. Local and international rights groups urged Bangladesh to repeal this act, terming it a draconian law. Adilur and Elan are facing trial in the Cybercrimes Tribunal of Dhaka now. The government is allegedly going to imprison these two prominent human rights defenders. It is easily possible in Bangladesh, where courts comply with the requirements of the executive branch of the country. The country's NGO Affairs Bureau has initiated an investigation against Odhikar and its leaders. The NGO Affairs Bureau is a wing under the Office of the Prime Minister. It deals with allowing or rejecting projects of NGOs and the disbursement of funds donated by the international development partners. The Anti-Corruption Commission of Bangladesh has also been another governmental tool to harass those who criticize the regime. The Anti-Corruption Commission is now harassing Odhikar in the name of investigation, simultaneously facilitating pro-government TV channels who allegedly hold a trial by media against the human rights defenders to benefit the government. Apart from investigations, constant surveillance is used against these human rights defenders. Plainclothed motorbikers carrying small firearms always stand outside the gate of the building which houses Odhikar office and residence of Adilur Rahman Khan. Family members of all age are chased wherever they travel. Police and intelligence agencies officers call the cell phones of car drivers and security guards who work in the same building and insist these guards and drivers report the whereabouts of Adilur from time to time. The government is beginning to target more civil society organizations after the January 5 fake election. 3 civil society organizations are already facing investigations of the Anti-Corruption Commission. The vibrant characteristics of Bangladesh's society are losing its grounds, turning into a panicked territory, while the silencing spree orchestrated by the authoritarian regime picks up. In Bukidnon of Philippines, 2 human rights defenders were gunned down while driving on the road earlier this month. Of the victims, Julieto Lauren was killed instantly and Narmi Lapatis was wounded requiring surgery by gunfire from a motorcycle that was obstructing their path. Lauren was a 41-year-old father of 4 and had recently been elected chairperson of a local farmers association named Kasama Valencia that had successfully campaigned for an increase of daily wages for farm workers back in 2012. Lapatis, who remains in the hospital, is an advocate for the rights of local indigenous people. She had recently moved to Valencia City to work as the secretary of Kasama Valencia. Her previous work included campaigns against large-scale mining companies who had responded to the work with targeted harassment by paramilitary and military groups, among others, and death threats. The 2 attackers may be connected with the 2 unidentified men that were taking pictures of participants at a recent Kasama assembly, and it has been alleged that these attackers were members of state security forces. In last week's report, we informed our audience about the Cambodian labor rights struggle. Now we have an update regarding the case of 23 labor leaders, government workers and villagers who were arrested on January 2nd and 3rd. On February 8, 2 of the protesters were released after being granted bail. However, the remaining 21 detainees have had their appeal for bail rejected. The Asian Human Rights Commission reiterates its appeal to the Cambodian government to drop the fabricated charges against them and release them unconditionally. In today's Voices of Survivors, we talk with Anulavati, the mother of Roshan Pernandu.
මගේ පුතාව මේ වරින්තුවක් තියෙනවා කියලා පොලිසියෙන් අල්ලගත්තා. අල්ලගත්තට වායගල පොලිසියට ගෙනාවා. ගෙනල්ලා ඊට පස්සේ මගෙත් එක්ක පුතා කතා කරා. ඊට පස්සේ මේ බන්ධනාගාරයට අරන් ගිහිල්ලා තිබුණා. දෙවෙනි දවසේ බන්ධනාගාරයට ගියා අපි. යනකොට පුතාව පැදුරු ගල්ලක දාලා රැට් එක ගාව තියලා තිබුණා. ඊට පස්සේ දැන් නාගොඩ රෝහලට ගෙනාවා. නාගොඩ රෝහලෙන් කොළඹට ගෙනිච්චා. දැන් කොළඹ දවස් 3ක් වෙනවා අදට. බන්ධනාගාරයයි කියලා තිනවා. මේ ටිකට් කපනකන් තමයි ඉන්නේ. ඔබගේ අතපය පන්නන්න කියලා. මොන්රාගල කට්ටිය තමයි කියලා තියෙන්නේ. ඇටයි හැම ඉස්සරයි කන්නේ බොන්නෙත් නැතුව. මට මගේ පුතාව කොහොම හරි මේකට ඒ මොන්රාගල අරින්න නැතුව මගේ පුතාව මට බේර දෙන්න කියලා තමයි මං ඉල්ලා සිටින්නේ. මට කන්න බොන්න දෙන්නේ යා විතරයි ඉන්නේ. මගේ පුතාව මොන්රාගල අරින්න නැතුව මට මෙහෙම බේර දෙන්න කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ මම. මේ බන්ධනාගාරේ තියාගෙන ආවේ. මොන්රාගලට දාන්නද මේ අවුරුද්ද තියාගත්තත් ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ මට මේ දැන් වරදට මේ දරුවන් දෙන්න ඕන මිස් මේ අට්ටු අවුරුද්දක් ඉඳන් කමන්නේ දැන් මගේ ළමයට ගහලා කන්න බොන්නත් බෑ ඇටේ යම ඉදිරියට මේ ගිගෙනකොට බලතැකි මේව.
The Asian Human Rights Commission has reported hundreds of cases of torture during last 15 years. There have been reports where innocent persons, men, women, and even children are arrested by officers of different police stations throughout Sri Lanka and subjected to cruel and inhuman treatment and torture. Several of these cases have ended in the custodial death of detainees at the hands of these state agents. It is the non-transferable duty of the government of Sri Lanka to provide an effective remedy for the victims' demands for justice, to ensure the right of the citizens to be free from torture, and to ensure the culprits be brought before the law. That's all for this week's Human Rights Asia Weekly Roundup. For more information on these issues, please go online at www.humanrights.asia. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again next week.